The Kryth Alliance was one of the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy. A species of scholars and engineers, the Kryth had traversed countless star systems, their exploration fueled by curiosity rather than conquest. So, when they encountered the peculiar species called humans, a primitive, warlike race from a remote planet, they saw not a threat, but an opportunity to study evolution in its rawest form. The Kryth interceptor vessel Kelenar descended on the human freighter with precision. The freighter's crew, 5 humans in total, were subdued quickly using neuroelectric stasis beams. The Kryth prided themselves on non-violence, so they carefully transported the unconscious humans to their containment cells, sterilized and sealed to perfection. What the Kryth didn't realize was that the true danger wasn't the humans' rudimentary technology or their physical strength. The danger was microscopic, invisible, and already spreading. Chapter 1. First Contact. Scientist Commander Yelith observed the humans through a transparent barrier in the lab. They were fascinating creatures, she thought, bipedal, with soft tissue exposed to the environment. How had such fragile organisms survived the harshness of the universe? Surely their world, Earth, must be a paradise compared to the hostile conditions of other planets. One of the humans, identified as Dr. Elena Vargas by the name tag on her suit, stirred. Yelith gestured to her assistant, Technician Relk, to release a low-level stimulant mist into the containment chamber. They needed these humans conscious for study. Elena's eyes fluttered open. She groaned, disoriented, and then froze as she noticed the translucent figure on the other side of the glass. The Kryth were tall and lithe, their skin glimmering with a metallic sheen. Yelith's 4 reflective eyes focused intently on Elena. "Welcome, human," Yelith said through a translation device. "We mean you no harm. You have been brought aboard the Kelenar for study. Cooperation will ensure your safety." Elena, still groggy, coughed harshly, her breath fogging the glass. The sound startled Yelith. Kryth's respiratory systems were highly efficient and sterile. Coughing was a foreign concept to them. "Study?" Elena rasped, her voice heavy with anger and fear. "You abducted us?" "Correct," Yelith replied. "But your presence here will benefit the galaxy. Your species is unique." Elena's glare was interrupted by another coughing fit, more violent this time. She clutched her ribs, her breath ragged. Yelith tilted her head in curiosity. Was this a normal human behavior? Chapter 2. The first signs. Hours passed. Technician Vrelk noticed unusual readings on his monitoring equipment. Atmospheric anomalies were spreading through the lab's air filtration systems. Initially, he thought it was a malfunction, but closer inspection revealed something more alarming. "Commander Yelith," Vrelk said, his voice tinged with unease, "the humans are emitting particles, microorganisms, billions of them." Yelith frowned. "Are they contained?" "Yes, but these organisms are unlike anything in our databanks. They're multiplying rapidly." Yelith turned back to the observation window. Inside the chamber, 2 of the humans were now awake, including a burly man who was pacing aggressively. Elena sat slumped against the wall, her coughing worsening. "Increase sterilization protocols," Yelith ordered. "Ensure these microorganisms do not breach containment." But it was already too late. Chapter 3. Outbreak. Within a day, members of the Kelenar crew began reporting symptoms. It started with mild respiratory irritation, a sensation of heaviness in the chest that the Kryth had never experienced before. Soon, the symptoms escalated. Fever-like heat surges, uncontrollable spasms, and the slow, terrifying breakdown of their metallic skin. By the time Yelith realized the severity of the situation, over half the crew was incapacitated. This is a biological attack," cried Second Officer Relith during an emergency council meeting. His shimmering blue skin was marred by dull gray patches. "The humans brought this plague aboard. We must eject them into space before it spreads further." Yelith's voice was calm but firm. "There is no evidence to suggest this was deliberate. Our sterilization systems failed. That is on us, not them. But they're killing us." Relith slammed his claws on the table, then winced as one of his nails cracked off a disturbing side. "Effect of the infection. Do you expect us to just die for the sake of honor?" Yelith hesitated. For the first time in her career, She felt uncertain. Was it possible these microorganisms were an intentional bioweapon? No, the humans had shown no signs of hostility during their capture. In fact, they seemed as confused as the Kryth themselves. We will not harm the humans, she decided. Not until we understand what we are dealing with. Quarantine all infected crew members and increase atmospheric sterilization in unaffected zones. Her words did little to soothe the growing panic among the car. Chapter 4. The human perspective. Inside the containment chamber, Elena was pale and drenched in sweat. The other crew members were equally miserable, though they tried to remain stoic. "Do you feel that?" whispered James Monroe, the ship's pilot. "The air. It's too clean. It's making me dizzy." Elena nodded weakly. "They're probably scrubbing the air of our germs. But if they're not used to normal bacteria." She trailed off, her scientific mind piecing together the horrifying truth. "Oh God, they don't have immunity." James frowned. "Immunity? What are you saying?" "I'm saying we're killing them." Elena's voice cracked. "Our bodies are covered in microorganisms harmless to us. But to them, we're walking pandemics." "Good," muttered Corporal Briggs, the security officer. "Serves them right for abducting us." Elena shot him a glare. "You think this is justice? We're accidentally committing genocide." Chapter 5. The decision. As days turned into weeks, the situation aboard the Kelenar worsened. The Kryth were dying at an alarming rate. Their advanced medical technologies, which could heal wounds and cure diseases unique to their species, were useless against the human pathogens. The microorganisms mutated too quickly, adapting to every countermeasure. Yalit stood in the infirmary, watching helplessly as technician Vrelk, a loyal assistant who had served her for decades, took his final, shuddering breaths. His metallic skin flacked away, revealing raw, unprotected tissue beneath. The ship's council convened one final time. This time, the air was heavy with desperation. "We cannot let this infection spread to the rest of the Alliance." Relith rasped, his voice barely audible. "The humans must die. If we jettison them now, we may still have a chance to contain this." Yelith closed her eyes, the weight of leadership pressing down on her. The humans weren't malicious. They hadn't attacked. They were simply incompatible with Kryth biology. But if they were released, they could potentially infect every species in the galaxy. Finally, Yelith spoke. "Bring the humans to the council chamber. We will let them plead their case." Chapter 6. Humanity's case. Elena and her crew were escorted, still weak, but alive, to the Kryth council chamber. The sight of the alien leaders, many of them visibly ill, made Elena's heart sink. "This is a nightmare," she whispered to James. "Then wake them up," James replied grimly. "Convince them to let us live." Elena stepped forward, trembling but resolute. "We didn't mean for this to happen," she said. "We didn't even know our biology was dangerous to you. On Earth, these microorganisms are harmless. They're part of us. We can't stop being what we are." Yalet studied her intently. "And what do you propose, human?" "We cannot coexist with your species if it means the destruction of ours." I don't know," Elena admitted. "But killing us won't solve your problem. These microorganisms are already aboard your ship. You need our help to study them, to find a way to neutralize them." Relith snarled. "You ask us to trust the species that has brought us to the brink of extinction?" "I'm asking you to trust reason," Elena shot back. "You're scientists, aren't you? So are we. Let us work together. If you kill us, you'll lose any chance of understanding this. And it'll happen again, with another human ship, or another species entirely." Yalet's gaze lingered on Elena, her four eyes unblinking. The room fell silent as the council deliberated. Finally, Yalet spoke. "We will allow the humans to assist in finding a cure. But if they fail, they die.